We like to shine a light on people in North Yorkshire who are making a difference and trying to do their bit to make life better for others. Now, this morning, I want to introduce you to Peter. This is Peter Thompson, who has spent the last 20 years making life better for people all over the world. Now, I had a call the other day from my friend Maggie. She's one of my neighbours in the village, and she just would not stop going on about him. She said, you've got to talk to Peter. This man is amazing. You've got to get him on the radio, and you've got to have a chat with him. So guess what? Morning, Peter.
Morning.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
Now, look, I know what you've been up to because Maggie has given me all the details, but why don't you tell everybody else what you've been doing over the last 20 years?
The shipment that goes out from our depot near Wixley tomorrow is going to Kenya, and it's our 5th consignment to Kenya. But it does include a 100,000th item, and an item can be anything from a hospital bed to a pair of crutches. And that's an awful lot of kit, but it's taken us nearly 20 years now. No, since 2009 to get that sort of number, and those have gone to 33 countries.
Goodness me. So you get used hospital equipment, and what do you do with it?
Well, we collect now from across the country. We have collection and dispatch points here in North Yorkshire, near Cambridge and near Bristol. And we have a collection-only points in Inverness, the Isle of Man, Norwich, and various other smaller depots. And then we collect it together to our dispatch points, clean it, repair it, and indeed sometimes scrap it if it's beyond reasonable repair, and then load it usually into 40-foot shipping containers and send it around the world where there's an incredible demand for this kind of equipment. And all of this would go to scrap in the UK if we didn't take it.
Wow. I mean, that is amazing. So 20 years ago, where did the idea come from?
Well, I was, at that time, I was chairman of the West Yorkshire Support Group for a charity called Hope and Homes for Children, which was established to help children affected by war and disaster. And as part of that, I was invited to go and visit the charity's flagship orphanage in Sarajevo in Bosnia. And this was not long after the end of the Bosnian wars, the Croatia and Bosnia and Serbia and so on. And it was an interesting week's trip, and we saw all the work that they were doing. And then as we were getting ready to leave, I was talking to an Australian physio who's working as a volunteer with about 25 children with disabilities. And I said, is there anything you want? And the next morning she gave me a long list of the equipment she needed for these children.
Yeah. And
when we got back to England, we were surprised. I had a small article in the Physio's professional magazine called Frontline, and I was surprised at how much equipment was offered. And so the next summer, that was summer of 2005, a retired GP and I drove the first van load to this orphanage, and also part of it went to a home for mentally handicapped people in Sarajevo. And then, well, that's how it started.
Yeah,
and then, oh gosh, we found that none of the UK charities working overseas really only want your money. They're not interested in doing what we were doing. And so by the time it got to... We sent 2 or 3 shipments to Hope and Homes in Bosnia and Romania. But then they said, well, we've no real immediate need for any more equipment. And so then we found it completely impossible to interest anybody like the Red Cross or Cheshire Homes or Oxfam in what we were doing.
Yeah.
So by 2008, it was obvious that we should either give up or set up a separate charity, which is what we did.
Wow. And can I ask, how old were you when you started this 20 years ago?
Oh, I was 70.
Right, okay, so... and there's no stopping you. You're in your 90s now.
I can't think what else I'd want to do.
So tomorrow, it's a big shipment, as you say, your 100,000th item. I mean, that is some going, Peter.
Yes, I mean, this particular container is a 20-footer, so it will only hold maybe 250, 300 items. So this is an accumulation, obviously, of 20 years.
Of course, yeah. Why do you do this?
Well, it just sort of grew, and I must say, I was born in India, and I've spent the whole of my life working overseas. And I suppose my wife and I started wanting to support an overseas children's charity, which is how we got into open homes for children. And it just grew from there.
Yeah. So who's going to be at I mean, you're packing this container up. Who actually packs it all up then?
Sorry?
Who packs up the container tomorrow?
Oh, we have a team of volunteers, and in this case, we've got, because it's the 100,000th item, there's a woman who's from a Kenya family, and she worked with a Californian charity near Eldoret to set up, I suppose it would be sort of cradle to the grave sort of charity, because they do children's help with children with hospices, hospitals, and so on. And she's now living near Cambridge, and so she's going to be coming up tomorrow and help to load the 100,000th item.
Wow!
Make a bit of an event of it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have to say, there is something else rather exciting. You got a gong, didn't you, this year? You're in the honours list, Peter.
Yeah, this was for the charity. I mean, I was the founder, chairman, trustee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Peter.
It's in recognition of the charity rather than of me.
Well, it's Peter Thompson MBE, and I'm so pleased for you. Listen, I hope it all goes well tomorrow, and thank you so much for coming on the show. If anybody has any sort of discarded crutches or anything that they've used hospital-wise, are they able to donate it, or what has to happen to it?
Well, obviously, we're just off the A59 at Wixley, and ideally bring it along on the Monday when we're up to a dozen of us getting ready for the next shipment. Otherwise, we collect from really across the country, more or less. But we do say we need 20 significant items to be worth sending a van to collect.
Yeah, okay.
But anybody prepared to bring stuff to us be very welcome. And in fact, we have a steady stream on a Monday from the Harrogate, Ripon, Knaresborough area.
Brilliant.
Know about us. The district nurses know about us, and people bring equipment, because everybody hates to see this just go to.
Well, exactly. It's absolutely shameful, isn't it? So they should look for PhysioNet. Is that right, Peter? That's the name of your company, the charity.
Yes, and it's well, anybody's very welcome to give me a ring. It's 01423 322 736.
Oh, that's very good of you. 01423 322 736. Peter Thompson MBE, thank you so much for your time this morning. Amazing, absolutely amazing. You're listening to Georgie at Breakfast on BBC Radio York. It's coming up to 8:20 on your local radio station for Acomb, Foxwood and Dringhouses.